of, oh, thank you for recording. Welcome to the A part of SOAR, SOAR, A meaning apply. Okay, there it is. Okay, so A, applying. So we're going to focus on marketing materials because that is the stuff that you need when you are applying to things like internships and jobs. So that's what we are going to focus on. When I say marketing materials, I mean three main things: your resume, your cover letter, and your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn profile has become almost as important as a resume these days. So I'm not gonna ask you guys if you have one. I'm just gonna assume you do. If you don't, it's super important to have. And by the way, if you have any questions as we're going on about what I'm talking about, feel free to put the questions in the chat. Otherwise, there'll be plenty of time at the end to ask general questions. Okay, so resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile. Go. Okay, so resume. You have to do this right. The number one thing that I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you many things here, is do not use a template that you find on Canva or Google or somewhere else. You're going to want to build your resume from scratch on a Microsoft Word document. And then when you upload it or email it, before you do that, when you're applying, you want to save it as a PDF and then off it goes. Okay. So once again, no Canva templates, nothing fancy like that. So it should look like what you are seeing now. This is the top 2/3 of what a resume should look like. This is a chronological resume. That's the format of it, which is the most common resume format. There are other types of resumes. For instance, the federal style resume, which looks similar, but it's longer because when you're applying for a federal job, they want more information. So federal government resumes are a little longer. But this is just the most common type of resume, and it's a very traditional look, and there's a reason for that. You want people to be able to see your information very quickly. Statistically, for people who look at resumes as part of their job, they're going to spend an average of 6 seconds looking at yours before they put it in the proverbial yes or no pile. So you want the reader to be able to get to that information quickly without hunting around, without deciphering some strange logos and borders and stuff like that. So this is what it should look like. I'll kind of walk you through what's on here. The name at the top should be the biggest thing on the resume. Then you're going to have your contact information. A lot of people these days also put their LinkedIn URL up at the top because LinkedIn, you can put so much more than you can put on a resume. Your first section below that should be your education section if you are being educated. So if you are a student, you put your education section first. Once you're out of school and into the working world, you can move your education section down and move your experience section up. But for now, if you're a student, your education section should be the first big section on the resume. And notice how it is formatted and how it is ordered. American University, location, you can put the school that you're in. And then the month and year that you're graduating is at the right. Notice all the dates here are on the right-hand margin. You want all the dates ideally to line up very nicely because, again, it makes it easier for the reader to scan it. You obviously want to include the degree that you're getting, whether it's a Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Master of Arts, whatever. You also want to put your major or majors or minor or whatever. Education section is also a place where you can put honors like Dean's List. You can put your GPA. You don't need to put your GPA, but if you want to show off your GPA, you certainly can put it there. Education section would also be a place if you want to list some of the relevant courses that you're taking or have taken. And this resume, this sample here, also includes some projects within those courses, okay? Now, in each section, everything goes in reverse chronological order. So here it starts with American University, and then below that is high school. Once you're in the sophomore year, high school stuff should ideally be gone from your resume to make room for the stuff that you're doing now. But first year students having your high school stuff on there is totally fine. And then below education section, an experience section. Notice here also the way it's formatted. Now, these bullet points below the experience section are the most important part of the resume. Those are your job descriptions, okay? So under the experience heading, you're going to start with your most recent role, internship, job, whatever. You're going to put your title, staff assistant, whatever. The place where you're doing it, Center for Community Engagement and Service, American University. And then the dates on the right. So you're going to put the month and year that you started, and then a hyphen, and the month and year that you ended. Or if you're currently doing the job or internship, you would put the word present, as you see on the slide here. Now the bullet points. Once again, most important part of the resume. You want to go for an average of 3 bullet points per role. Again, that's an average, but you don't want to go crazy with the number of bullet points. It's really the highlights of the highlights here. And you want to write what you're doing, what you're accomplishing, or what you accomplished. And you want to start each bullet point with a strong action verb. And we'll get back to that in a minute. So avoid starting the bullet points with responsible for, or worked on, or assisted with. Just go right to the strong action verb. Just go right to the thing that you're doing, okay? Notice that these verbs are in, well, at least the ones in the staff assistant are in present tense because this is a present job, a current job. So you would put present tense verbs. The job below that is also a present job, but there are exceptions to when you're going to use past tense verbs, including selected to study and develop leadership, right? So that happened in the past. There, a present tense verb would not make sense. And then if you accomplished something or ended something within the job, it's okay to use past tense verbs like developed and held sponsored awareness event, right? So you're talking about a specific event that happened in the past, even though you're still doing the internship or the job, okay? So what you are seeing here are really the only things that are required on your resume as a student. 3 things: the name section with your contact information, the education section, because you're being educated, and some type of experience section. Okay. But often people have more things to show off. So they might have something beneath the experience section like campus involvement or campus engagement, where they put, talk about the organizations or clubs that they're involved with, especially if you have leadership roles, then you really want to show that off. If you're an athlete, you might want to put an athletic section. Not might want to. You definitely should have an athletic section if you're an athlete. So there's a lot of extra things that you can put on your resume. And at the end, a lot of people put a skills section. It would generally go at the end with some exceptions, but what you put in a skills section are what we call hard skills. These I like to call skills with a proper name. So generally, it's going to be things like the names of software, the names of databases that you know how to use, and foreign languages also can go in a skills section. And you do not have to be fluent in the foreign language to put it in the skills section. You just want to quantify your proficiency in that language. So for instance, basic conversational Spanish or French hyphen intermediate working proficiency, however you want to do it. But what you don't want to put in a skills section are what we call soft skills or transferable skills, like teamwork and leadership and problem solving. Those are important skills to have, but if you want to show the reader that you have those skills, you're going to somehow work them into your job descriptions. You're going to show them that you have those skills instead of like writing them out on your resume. So the things often that go in a skill section are things like Adobe Photoshop or Canva or Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint or SPSS or R, things like that. So things with a proper name, generally computer related. Okay. Get ready because this is a big one. Tami's rules of resume writing. Number one, your name should be the biggest thing on the document. So try to make your name a little bit bigger than everything else. Fully spell out the degree that you're getting. So don't just put BA, put Bachelor of Arts, if that's what you're getting. Fully spell out months, so don't abbreviate. Never use I or my or we or our on a resume. That just doesn't belong. If it's there, just take it out and it'll probably still make sense without it. Remember, you're not using full sentences here. You're not writing in a narrative format. You're basically just making a list. So we should never see the words I or my on a resume. Font styles, use traditional styles. The most traditional is Times New Roman, but you don't have to use that. Arial, Cambria, etc. Don't pick just like a crazy or weird, very unusual font. Font size, the acceptable font sizes are 10, 11, or 12 points. 10, personally, is a little too small for my old eyes. So try for 11 if you can. Margins. When you open up a document, like a Microsoft Word document, the default margin is 1 inch all around. So top, bottom, side to side, it's going to be a 1 inch margin. If you want to narrow the margins to give yourself more space to put more stuff on your resume, you can narrow it, but not smaller than 1/2 inch. Because if you narrow it to more than 1/2 inch, it's going to look like the words are falling off the page, and you don't want that. Experiences within each section should be in reverse chronological order. I already said. I already said this as well. Job or internships descriptions, which means the bullet points that you're using, should begin with a strong action verb. Don't have any big blocks of text on your resume. Break everything up into bullet points, all right? There shouldn't be anything longer than 2 lines of text. No colors other than black, no pictures, no borders, no shading, all right? Just very simple. The document should be 1 page long. There are exceptions, however, for graduating seniors, graduate students, and alumni. But even for those people, never more than 2 pages, except if it's a federal resume. That generally is going to be like a page longer because of all the extra stuff that they want. Moving on. So I talked about strong action verbs. So these are some examples of action verbs that are research related, so that you get the idea of what I'm talking about when I say strong action verbs. Now, obviously, these are all past tense verbs, so they would go in an experience that has already finished. I'm not going to read them all to you, but I think you can get the idea of what this is about, right? Strong action verbs, right? Okay. Moving on to cover letters, everyone's favorite thing to do. Actually, that's not true. Nobody likes to do this. But the good news is that once you've written one or two, it becomes much easier. The
Wait,
first
Tami,
thing, yes,
before you get started on cover letters, someone asked,
yes,
what are your thoughts about including a summary section at the top of the resume?
good question. I would leave that out unless you've been out in the working world for a few years and you need to or you want to distill your experience into a paragraph. But nobody else should have that. Certainly not a student. You should just start with your education section. Now, your LinkedIn profile will ask you to have that section, and that's fine. But not on your resume. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Moving on to cover letters. All right, as I said, no one likes to do them. Number one rule is that you are always sending out a different cover letter. You're never sending out the same cover letter twice. And I'll talk more about how to do that, but this is kind of what it's going to look like, or at least the top part. It's as much as I can fit on the slide. So a cover letter is a formal business document, so it has to be formatted in a formal business way. So the top of that document is going to be your address, not your name. Then there's going to be a line of space. Then there's going to be the date. Then there's going to be a line of space. Then there's going to be the recipient information. So who is getting this? Often we just don't have a name, but put as much information as you can. Certainly you will have the name of the organization and you can easily get their street address. So that all goes at the top. Notice that everything on this letter is lined up on the left-hand margin. We don't indent because it's a formal business letter. So it's not like an essay. So now to the letter part. Dear first and last name, if you have a name. But as I said, often we don't. So if you don't have a name, you can put something like dear hiring manager or dear internship coordinator, something like that. That's totally fine. Do not use to whom it may concern. That's very bad and old. Notice after the dear part, there is a colon and not a comma. That's because it's a formal business letter. So you're putting a colon and not a comma. Now, these should never be longer than a page. I would say a good goal is to have 4 paragraphs, 4 shortish paragraphs, right? Now, what are in those paragraphs? The first paragraph is pretty introductory. You're telling the reader what you're applying for. Be very specific. Ideally, you're telling them how you found out about this thing, this opportunity. You're telling them a tiny bit about yourself. I'm a senior studying communications at American University, something like that. And then you want to end your first paragraph with kind of a thesis statement. And the message of that thesis statement is, I am a good fit for this position. Okay? That's the message that you want to put forward. I am a good fit for this. Now, oh, sorry. I got a little ahead of myself. So how do you do that? How do you show them that you're a good fit for this? So then we get to the most important part of this letter. Some of this is cut off, but let's say you're doing 4 paragraphs. So the second and third paragraph are probably going to be stories about when you've used the skills that the employer wants you to have. Okay. Now, how do you know what skills the employer wants you to have? Good question, Tami. I will tell you. You're going to look at the job posting or the job description or the internship posting, whatever. And hopefully you will see a list of requirements or skills that the employer wants applicants to have. Sometimes they'll actually have a list of like 12 skills that they want you to have. Other times they'll make it a little more difficult for you and they'll kind of bury the skills in a paragraph. So you might see a paragraph that says something like, our ideal candidates should be great with teamwork, really good problem solvers, and have really good time management skills. Okay, so those are the skills that you want to be addressing in your cover letter. So you want to think, okay, they want teamwork, problem solving, and time management. When have I used those skills? Think back, think back. Okay, I've used some of those skills on a previous internship. So I'm going to write a paragraph about a specific time in that internship where I used those skills, like problem solving. I had to solve this problem and this is how I did it. Okay. Or I had, for time management, I had to juggle all these responsibilities at once. How did I do that? Right. So you're showing the reader that you have those skills. This is a show, not tell situation. So you're not listing out that you have those skills, but you're showing through a story that you have those skills. You're also not regurgitating what's on your resume. You're picking, let's say, 2 or 3 experiences from your resume or not, and you're writing a little story in a paragraph form about using the skills that they want you to have. Now, you can't always address all the skills that they're asking for, but hopefully you can address some of them. Okay, so one paragraph about with one story, one experience, showing some skills. Another paragraph about another experience where you've used some skills. So that's the middle of the letter. That's the most important part of the letter. That's what frustrates a lot of people because they just don't know what to write. But again, it gets easier as you do these. So doing that is one level of customization, okay? Because you want to match the skills that you have with the skills that they want you to have. However, you don't always have to start writing these from scratch because you might be applying to 5 different internships that want similar skills. So you can oftentimes use the same stories. Now, in the last paragraph, you're kind of concluding. You are putting your email address and phone number in there because hopefully you'll get an interview. So you're writing something like, I can be reached at. You are thanking them for reading this, thanking them for their time. And then below that, you're going to write sincerely. And then below that, you're going to write your name. Okay. This all has to fit on one page. What was I forgot what I was going to, an extra thing that, so there's another level of customization here. That's it. So along with showing how you're a good fit for the position itself, you want to show the reader that you're a good fit for that organization or that company. So how do you do that? Well, you look at their website or you do some research on them and you see what their goals are, what their mission is, what their values are. Let's say you're applying for a Hilternship. Obviously, you want to do some research on that person. See what what bills they're working on, what legislative things they're trying to get through, what their goals are, and align yourself with those. So a sentence or 2, that's all you need to do it. Maybe 1 sentence in the top paragraph and 1 sentence in the bottom paragraph, aligning yourself with the missions or values or goals or actions of the place that you're applying to. Right. So if this politician that you're applying to be a part of their team has done something that has impacted you personally, put that in, or is working on something that you are really interested in, put that in, right? So that's kind of the second level of customization on a cover letter, is where you're aligning yourself with the organization or the company or the team. Okay. So that's cover letters. Now, finally, just a little bit about LinkedIn. this is a random person, I don't know them, but this profile was posted as part of like the LinkedIn education site of part of LinkedIn. So I figured she won't mind. So just some tips about LinkedIn. I always suggest completing your resume first, and then building your LinkedIn profile if you haven't built it yet. Because that way you can kind of copy and paste what's on your resume into the LinkedIn profile. Another thing, profile picture, very, very important, okay? If someone wants to connect with me on LinkedIn and they don't have a profile picture, I will not connect with them because I will be suspicious. Why are they hiding? So you want to have a picture kind of like the one here of Jessica. It's going to be like from the shoulders up, not a blank wall behind you, but something, you know, that shows some texture, not very distracting though. So this one is done outside. You want to be smiling. You want to be looking at the camera. Okay, those are kind of the rules of what your LinkedIn profile picture should look like. It should not be a selfie. It should not be something that you've cropped out your friends from, where you kind of see like a hand on your shoulder. Don't do that. Just have someone take a nice picture of you. You know, it's not that difficult to do that. You don't have to pay to have someone take a professional picture of you to do this. Notice how Jessica customized her background. You can do that. A lot of people don't know that you can do that. So you can put a nice like panoramic photo like she did. I don't know what these things are that are in there, but whatever. I'm sure they're important to Jessica. So you can customize that too. Remember though, that this is a professional networking site. Okay. So this is not your Instagram. This is not TikTok. You want to make it professional looking, right? So don't put anything on there that is outside the realm of professionalism. All right. I mean, ideally, for your entire online presence, you shouldn't be posting anything that you would be ashamed of 5 years from now. But especially with LinkedIn, just remember this is a place to kind of show off what you've done, right? And connect with other people. And LinkedIn doesn't have a maximum length. Your LinkedIn page could be, you could put as much as you want on there, unlike a resume. So it's necessary. You must have one. And just like anything else in this presentation, cover letters, resumes, LinkedIn profile, these are things that we can help you with at the Career Center. So if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, come see us and we'll talk about it. All right. Any questions about anything? I'm just going to sit here until someone asks a question, Delia.
Looks like no one has put anything in the chat.
There are 3 people? We have 3 people?
We have now 5.
We have 5 people. Someone has a question. It can be about anything we talked about here, or it can be about the Career Center. Anything. Just throw it in the chat. I see something in the Q&A, Delia.
Let me look. Someone asked, how do you incorporate a portfolio into your marketing materials?
Ooh, I need more information on that. What type of portfolio are we talking about? You can unmute yourself. Can they unmute themselves?
No, they can't talk.
Okay, they cannot talk. All right, I need more information about what kind of portfolio you are referring to.
Data science projects, as in GitHub, etc.
How do you incorporate that into your resume? Was that the original question?
Into your marketing materials. So I assume
Oh, okay.
your cover letter
Well,
resume.
you can put a link on your resume. You can certainly put links on your LinkedIn profile. If you have a separate website of your own, you can put that link on your resume up top. And you can incorporate that into your LinkedIn profile as well. I don't know how well that answers your question. But that's what I would do. Anything else? Any other questions?
So far, someone said, would you recommend putting any certificates on a resume or LinkedIn?
Yes. Yes. Of course. Yeah. I mean, unless they're from high school, but yeah, excuse me, you can do what a lot of people do is they add to their skills section on their resume. So they might put skills and certificates, right? And you could add that to your skills section, or you can add that to your education section. Absolutely. And definitely put it on your LinkedIn profile. There are spaces for that too. Anything you want to show off that you think is relevant.
Someone asked, at what point should we remove our high school experience from LinkedIn or resume?
Okay. LinkedIn, you never have to remove anything because again, you can make it as long as you want to. You can remove it. You don't have to. For your resume, it really depends on how much content you have. So I would say first year, fine to have high school stuff on there because you're just starting college and most of your experience is probably from high school. But sometime during sophomore year, you should probably be taking out your high school stuff again to make room for your college stuff, right? That's what employers are going to want to see. So there's no one specific date or month, whatever, that you have to take that stuff off. Keep in mind also that you're having a one-page resume and you want to make sure everything fits on there. So the first things that are going to come out are the things that are a long time ago, right? So including your high school information. What else? Nobody? I mean, that's okay. I'm not insulted.
Looks like they ran out of questions.
It's okay. Well, then I must have done a good job.
Yeah.
So just, well, to end with, once again, if you want one-on-one help with any of these things, the Career Center is there for you. So physically, it's on the 5th floor of Butler Pavilion. Obviously, we also do virtual appointments. So pretty much anything career related we can help you with if you have not been around yet. If you're interested in going to law school, by the way, I am also the pre-law advisor. So there's that. Pre-law appointments can be made from junior year onward. Okay. So, our website, very important, american.edu/career center, where there's a plethora of resources and information about all of this stuff. Resumes, cover letters, etc. So check it out if you haven't already. And that's it. We are at the end.